Hi guys, today we're going to do a brief short trade recap for this day. It's Wednesday, so we'll do a trade recap for this buy right here, and I'll talk about where I entered and where I exited. It wasn't really the best execution, but the trade did end up playing out well. So we'll just start from the daily. This was a pretty short-term trade, so it was just based off of the idea that we want to do a quick retracement. So overall, I'm still kind of bearish, but it's a buy because it's a retracement trade. And so the higher time frame for this trade was just that daily fair value gap right there. So starting from the bias of this trade, we see that this is that daily candle for today, and we basically just entered this daily fair value gap yesterday, and today we were also just hanging around that daily fair value gap. So I want to keep in mind that we're already in discount of this range, and we also already went into that daily fair value gap, and we also swept that liquidity without closing below it. So that's what's happening on the daily. Now going to the 4-hour, we also don't really have much else other than the fact that we have this 4-hour fair value gap there. I wanted to have that 4-hour as sort of like a target that we could potentially retrace into. But I think when we come into days like this, or when we come into times like this, it's better to have the mindset of like, if it comes into the 4-hour and shows bearish signs, then I'll short, instead of trying to long into the 4-hour, because we have no idea whether it wants to go to the 4-hour or not, because it doesn't have to go to the 4-hour if we're bearish, right? We can just continue going lower. So that's why the 4-hour wasn't really my target, but it was something that I want to look for. On the 1-hour, I don't really see much. There was no bullish or bearish fair value gaps. So basically my idea is that on the daily we're bearish, but we're already in a daily fair value gap, and on the 4-hour we also have a bearish fair value gap over at the top. And we also have Asian session here, and we swept Asian session low here. So going down to the 30-minute, we see that we have a bullish fair value gap right here, and we pretty much just respected it a little bit. And then that was my higher time frame. So my higher time frame is that 30-minute fair value gap right there that we went into. So after that, I want to wait for a 5-minute, and we got a 5-minute fair value gap right there. After we got that 5-minute fair value gap, I waited for it to get into it. So after we tapped into it, I entered there, stops below this low, and just targeting that high. And it was a pretty much almost no drawdown trade, but I guess I just got too impatient. So that's my entry, and I actually exited around here. I moved my stop loss there, so I got out around there, and then it just went straight to my TP. So I think times like this is important to sort of remind yourself to be patient and to stick to your plan. If your plan is to trail your stop loss, then this will be fine. But my plan was actually not to trail my stop loss. My plan usually is just to move my stop loss to break even if it's already gone up so much. So I actually did end up moving it to break even, but then I ended up moving it up again. So that's where I got stopped out. But I should have just moved it to break even and just left the TP there. And my TP is just that Asian session high, although we have this high as well, but I didn't want to aim for that high because that was not the Asian session high. But like I said, I don't want to aim for that H4 yet. So that was my trade today. I think what I could have done better was really just to leave it alone. I should have just set this trade, and after it was chopping around in here, I should have just set stop loss to break even and just left the charts completely, because I don't really need to be there after I set my take profit and my stop loss. So this is times where you don't really have to be there. Although I have to say the price action really wasn't the greatest. It was really, really choppy here. Basically it just went up and down this whole time. And GU had a lot cleaner price action, which is also why I started to get a bit more doubtful, because this was that high of GU that we took out here and here, and EU hasn't taken it out yet, so I was scared that it would start forming an SMT. But these two highs, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. You just have to stick to your plan and stick to your trades, because it was a valid setup. And another thing was because I kind of got scared of this fair value gap as well. It was respecting for a while, so that's why I ended up taking it out early. But I know even during that time, I knew that it was just fearful thoughts coming out. It's not really very logical thoughts that made sense. It was just more fearful thoughts because I didn't want to lose. But yeah, it's still something where I have to just follow my plan instead of letting my emotions take over. So overall, it was an okay day. It's not it's not great, but I don't want to look at things and just be and just say that it's good because I had some profits. It's not about the profits. It's more about following the plan. So I think that's where I went wrong, because it's not about whether I won or whether I lost. It's more about, did I execute my plan well? And I didn't, because I didn't end up following through with the plan. Like, I entered properly, I set my take profit properly, but I ended up moving stop loss. So that's where I went wrong. Yeah, I think that's all for today's trade recap. And keep in mind that this was really just more of like a Asian session liquidity kind of strategy, where we just went below the Asian session low, swept it, entered into a 30-minute fair value gap, and targeted the Asian session high. It's not really much of a higher time frame sort of strategy. And also just because we're in that daily fair value gap, so I don't expect price to just push straight through and just go like much lower. Yeah, that's like the mindset for this trade. I do want to see price go into that 4-hour fair value gap, but yeah, we'll just see what happens next. But that's basically it for today's trade. I'll try to put more trade recaps like this every single day, so, and keep it nice and short, so that it's like you just see like all of the steps of my strategy. So it's just bias, draw on liquidity. So bias is moving here, and draw on liquidity is just, technically it's kind of like this, but it's not my ultimate like high time frame draw on liquidity, but I just aim for this as like my ultimate draw on liquidity for this particular trade idea. But my target is this Asian session high, and my high time frame is that 30-minute. So hopefully it all makes sense. And yeah, like, I'll just do more of these videos to keep myself accountable, and also for me to look back on in the future as well, to see like how I executed and stuff. And I'll try to upload my losses as well. But I've been trying really hard to take less trades nowadays, so just being more and more picky with my trades. So that's something that I'm like currently working on as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.